3 events in New Mexico, basically called the X Prize Cup, which was an idea to sort of bring the public to having a space experience on the ground. They had demonstrations of, I think I saw Rocket Racing League do some type of demo with the Learjet there, using some innovative technology.
Demonstrated the virtual racetrack.
Yeah, the virtual racetrack. For those who are unfamiliar with the Rocket Racing League, it's using rocket-powered aircraft. Think of it as race cars in the sky, and I think they're having their first demonstration flight this spring in Tulsa.
It's basically a Formula One race.
In 3 dimensions. So the X Prize Cup is kind of on hiatus right now, but it was a really sort of unique event. Well, they had 2 or 3 of them. Next slide. So today, 2002 today, you kind of have super angels, which are kind of like who have directly invested quite a bit of, some of them extensive parts of their net worth, and some people a lot in terms of absolute dollars. First guy on the left is Paul Allen, co-founder of Microsoft, and his company, which invested in with Burt Rutan, is called Mojave Aerospace Ventures. It owns the IP that they're using for Virgin Galactic for the Spaceship Two. Richard Branson, probably the most well-known of entrepreneurs, founder of Virgin, and is Virgin Galactic is his baby. The third guy, in some ways, I think kind of maybe he's so cool what he's trying to do. Robert Bigelow, who created Budget Suites of America. He's a major contractor and I think a multi-family developer and owner in the Nevada area, Las Vegas. He has created Bigelow Aerospace, which is basically building real estate up in space. He already has 2 modules up in orbit right now. They're not manned, but he is building his own space station. There's pictures, videos on YouTube. He's doing a lot of innovative things. He is probably, in some ways, maybe the most independent of the group. At this point, I don't think he's taking any government money. I think at this point has he taken any government money, or has this been solely out of his own pocket?
He kind of bought the module design off the government.
He bought the IP from NASA?
Yeah.
He's using inflatable modules, so basically you can take up something really small, inflate it, and you got a lot of interior space. I'm just personally sort of teased that I didn't get to participate in one of his programs called Fly Your Stuff in Space. When he flew one of his modules, you could send something up about business card size for a couple $100, and he would pretty much guarantee you in 6 weeks that it would be on a webcam. And he said he was going to have the most camera coverage in space, and he had external, internal cameras, and you could see your picture of your, dead grandparent, fly, whatever it is. It's pretty cool. So I'm probably the most intrigued with his work in a lot of ways. We have Elon Musk, who founded several companies. He was a dot-com entrepreneur, including a company that he is currently running that's space-related, is SpaceX, which is building large rockets. He's also head of Tesla electric motor cars and is an investor in Solar City. So start seeing some of these other peripheral interests with some of these entrepreneurs. It's not just about space, but all the other ways they can connect. We've got John Carmack here, who is Texas video game software developer, whose company is Armadillo Aerospace, who did very well. Was one of the finalists in the Lunar Lander Challenge that was sponsored by, I think, Northrop Grumman. So you do still see a lot of the bigger aerospace companies trying to support some of this new space stuff. As well as he is now working, I think, doing engine work for Rocket Racing League. Is that correct?
That's right.
And then you have Jeff Bezos, who I heard that he never really wanted to be a bookseller, but rockets and space has always been his #1 dream, and he has a company called Blue Origin, which is actually using the technology based from the DCX, or it's, I think, loosely based off the DCX. And some people say, well, why not do a space plane like everybody else? Why do a vertical takeoff and landing? And thought is, well, where are the runways on the moon? So, maybe he has, like some of these entrepreneurs I know, like Elon, they have much grander aspirations rather than just sending stuff up to space, but they've talked about Mars and the moon. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard a story, if anybody knows this, that Elon originally wanted to send a little habitat, a greenhouse to Mars.
The biosphere.
A biosphere. And see what would happen. He was going to go to the Russians. And he just sort of realized, for whatever, that he was going to have to do this whole thing himself, which is why he's decided the daunting task of having a rocket company. Next slide. So 2006, you have Bigelow, who flew his first space habitat. So once again, think of him as a real estate contractor. A lot of the press was that he was building a hotel in space. Well, there's only so many people initially who have the money that can go up and, use it as a hotel. I think he's probably thinking, besides super rich individuals, but corporations and other national governments that maybe don't have their own space station or won't have easy access to the ISS, they could use it. So he's building it in outside of Las Vegas. He's got they're building the manned one, and I heard on a call from him that I think 2015 is his goal to have the first paid revenue producing passenger on a habitat, and I think the price is around $28.5 million for 30 days, and that would include training and your flight. So his big challenge has been getting a ride. So he's been using the Russians, and for a period of time he had a prize that I think he was offering somewhere between $50 and $100 million called the America's Prize to somebody that could build an orbital vehicle. Nobody was able to do it, I think, at the timing that he wanted done, and I think maybe he's put that on the back burner, but now we have quite a few companies like Space Exploration Technologies doing that will be one of his providers of rides. Next slide. So 2007 through 2009, you had NASA kind of getting on the bandwagon with the challenge idea, using things called the Centennial Challenges, basically using awards to spur innovation. Some of the ones you might have heard of, there was one for a better glove. Now, they need better gloves for the astronauts. So there's a guy named Peter Homer out of Maine, who in his kitchen or living room basically sewed up something, and he won the competition. He's now working with Molly's company, Orbital Outfitters. So there's a lot of great stuff happening, and it's not just about space. There's the DOE has something, I think their own challenge called, I think it's like the E Prize, for maybe it's better, cheaper lighting. There's one I think for a 100-mile-per-gallon car, but that's also an X Prize. So you're getting the government interested in using competition as a way to spur innovation, along with these private foundations. And you can find out, there's tons of them. Just type in like Centennial Challenges. I think there's even one for green aviation, I think maybe cleaner fuels. There was one, the Lunar Regolith Challenge was about mining fuel, or potentially mining fuel on the moon. Next slide. So 2009, just at the end of it, I think it was December 7th, 2009, they did the rollout of Virgin Galactic Spaceship 2 up in Mojave to a lot of fanfare and the typical Virgin Galactic multimedia spectacular. I think being objective, one thing being the perfect marketing guy, nobody asked him, what's on the inside? Can we look inside? Or are your engines? I think they're still working on that. So, but that got a lot of attention. I think you've got Governor Bill Richardson from New Mexico, whose state will, I think, be the first state to commercially be flying these vehicles out of. They're developing it here in California. And then you have Governor Schwarzenegger from California, who's also there. I think they were doing I guess the christening is what they call it, the champagne bottle. They actually break a champagne bottle off the nose?
Yeah, they did.
Next slide. So in 2010,